Hello, this is Good Morning Geelong. Welcome to the program. Well, today on the show we take a look at one of the new arrivals in town, the Transport Accident Commission. First up on the show, Rollo speaks with Janet Dorr, the CEO of the TAC. He's at a civic reception at the City of Greater Geelong. He then speaks with David Koch, MLC for Western Victoria.
And one of the big things that's happened in our great city of Geelong is that the TAC has opened its offices down in our Geelong City, the old Bow Trust building next door to the National Wool Museum. And joining me is a lady who now can call Geelong her home. She is the CEO of the TAC here in Geelong. It's Janet Dorr. Welcome to News Geelong.
Thank you very much. Good to be here.
And for that matter, welcome to Geelong.
I've been here for 12 months already, living here in Geelong West, so I feel very much at home.
Well, Councillor Kevin Kirby, who was a former mayor of the city of Geelong West, he'd be very proud to have you as a citizen of Geelong West.
And what's more, I'm on a development on the old Geelong West Council depot site, so having had a career in local government for 30 years, I think it's pretty good that I've ended up there.
Well, that opens the first question, Janet. Before you, how long have you been with the TAC?
About 15 months.
And prior to that?
30 odd years in local government, City of Newcastle, City of Ballarat, a regional city person.
So you don't take coals to Newcastle?
No, and it's Newcastle. I had to learn that.
And we don't need to take snow to Ballarat?
No, we don't. It still snows in the winter and autumn, so I love it there though. Good fresh air.
On a serious note, Janet, it was one of the real shots in the arm for the Geelong region when it was announced back in 2005 and then reconfirmed on the 9th of October 2006 by the then Premier, Mr Steve Bracks, that the TAC was setting up offices here in Geelong. And the region, 850 jobs, something worth $59 million per annum in economic benefits. It's just a really good news, win-win story.
Absolutely. People who have been recruited from the Pt1 region or have moved from Melbourne to take up our positions in our new head office are delighted with the family lifestyle, the facilities, the education, the shops. I'm sure the economic benefit will be increased over that $59 million because Westfield's next door, and I'm sure we're all making our contribution.
And of course, the wonderful world of what we can call sea change is a real attraction.
Absolutely. A lot of people brought down the coast, and there's a few mad surfers around amongst us, so they're having a great time sailing, surfing, doing everything.
Jan, just for our viewers, the dumb questions are one you don't ask, but brief explanation. What is the TAC?
The TAC is the Transport Accident Commission, and it has three major purposes, and that is to prevent land-based transport accidents, and that's mainly cars, but it includes buses, trams and trains. It then looks after people who've had transport accidents, rehabilitates them, gets them back to independence, whatever that means for that person, and pays them adequate compensation. So we don't want clients. We're an organisation that would prefer not to have clients, but if you're in a registered vehicle in Victoria or Victorian registered vehicle anywhere in Australia, you will be looked after by us.
And one wonderful element as far as I'm concerned, around town, the wonderful feedback from people who have been fortunate enough, Geelong-based people, to be employed by the TAC. Magnificent new offices, the environment is very friendly, and it's, again, a real plus to our Geelong standard of living and our quality of life.
Well, we've been welcomed to Geelong with open arms by the community here, so we very much appreciate the welcome we've got. We do consider ourselves to be a good employer. We like to encourage flexibility in our workforce. We've got a lot of young women working part-time with families, and we want to give opportunities to everybody we can. So if anybody wants to work for the TAC in the future, I'm sure we'll have opportunities to get more Pt1 residents in.
The Chief Executive Officer of the TAC, the Traffic Accident Commission here in our great city of Geelong, Janet Dorr, thank you for joining us tonight, and again, welcome to Geelong.
Thank you very much.
Many members of a government on both sides of the House have been very supportive of the TAC coming down to Geelong. And joining me now is the member from the Legislative Council for Western Victoria, Mr David Koch. Welcome to News Geelong, David.
Thank you, Graham. Today I think is a very high point for Geelong. We are fortunate to see the relocation from the metropolitan area to regional Victoria of TAC, and I totally support the endeavours of the government in decentralisation of larger companies like this to the benefit of Geelong and other regional areas.
David, for our viewers, the region of as MLC, Western Victoria, what geographic area do you cover?
Quite a bit, Graham. We run from, Western Victorian parliamentarians run from Port Phillip, around the coast of the South Australian border, up the South Australian border to the Big Desert, and then we come back across, sort of down the Western Highway to about Ararat, and then we go across through Avoca, pick up Maryborough, across to Kyneton, come back down then through Melton to Werribee. So it's about 34% of Victoria.
And David, you've always been a regional man?
Always, born and bred in Coleraine. I'm very selfishly regional Victorian. I know that the metropolitan area particularly will be always very well represented in the state parliament, but I think it's important to have a strong voice for regional Victoria, and I'm very, very happy to participate in that.
Well, we always say to our friends up there in Melbourne that we regard Melbourne as the northern suburb of Geelong.
They refer to Geelong the other way around, Graham, but I think it's important that we bring a balance to the parliament. We will never ever have the majority of people in the Victorian Parliament, obviously. The population is more localised to the metropolitan area, but it's important that they, as parliamentarians, get a good idea of what goes on in regional Victoria, and I might say it's good for us regional Victorians to get a feel of what happens in the metropolitan area.
And a superb injection of economic stability into the Geelong region with the establishment of the TAC now open and running in Brome Street here in City.
Yeah, absolutely no doubt about that, Graham, and quite obviously the economy is boosted very heavily with the relocation of members of TAC. It brings a lot of jobs to Geelong, and in doing so adds a lot to the economy down here, and I think the Geelong community should be justly proud to have such a large government agency within its own boundaries.
The MLC for Western Victoria, Mr David Koch.
A big thank you to Janet and also to David for joining us on the program. We'll be back with more about the TAC just after this short break. Stay around.